Nice to see you. Nice. Yeah, welcome to the live stream. Happy to see you again. And hello, people on what's that called? Telegram. Yeah, nice to see you in Telegram. Welcome. You get a side view, but you can like have both cameras on. Okay, so we will start with advertisement before we begin the talk. So if you want to join book club, there is one place left on a book club on Wednesday afternoons or mornings if you're in America. You can find that on my website. Click on the link that says book club. Tomorrow I'm doing a private Zoom group where there's just a very small group of people where you can ask questions, and it won't be broadcasted or recorded, so you can ask questions in private. Click the link below and join. If you want to join the Telegram group in order to ask questions on my live streams, then you can do by clicking the link below of live stream, or go on my website and look at live stream, and there's a Telegram group that you can join and ask questions. I try to do these talks every Sunday, but I can't always do them every Sunday, so I'm doing them Saturday, every Sunday at 4:30 French time. To work out if I'm doing it or not, then go onto my YouTube channel a few days or a day before, and you'll see a link to when I'm next going live. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and put the bell on of all notifications, then you'll get a notification when I go live. You'll get a notification when I publish that I'm going to go live. Yes, that's how you do it. Nice. Okay, now I've done all the advertisements. I'm going to have a rest. That's nice. And what have we got? What is the name of the talk? The name of the talk is, today, How to Experience Non-Duality. Boom, boom, boom. That's really a dramatic title, isn't it? It's like a clickbait title. How to Experience Non-Duality. There is no one to experience non-duality. It's a trick. Just put that title to get you to click on the video. Push. Yes. I even think I've done that title before. It's so hard to think of new titles. If you're in my Telegram group, please send me a title for talks, or you can put them in the comments down below. Think of a title and put it on there, because it's really hard to think of titles. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Okay, non-duality. How to experience non-duality. So, I forgot to advertise my retreat as well. So next Easter there is also a retreat. You can also click on the link below. Or a conference, we're calling it. Yeah, so if you feel like you would like to join a conference, a 7-day conference over Easter, then please click the link below. Okay, so how to experience non-duality. You can see I really can't be bothered to do the advertisement, although I know I should. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Well, I think the most important thing is to ask is, who is it that wants to experience non-duality? So it's easy to ask the questions. It's always easy to ask, like how to experience, how to become more peaceful. But I think the real question is who is asking that? You know, non-duality is always a pointing backwards, which ultimately isn't backwards, because there's no down, up, back, forwards in non-duality, because it's non-duality. but it needs freaking language to express it. So I have to say backwards because it gives some form of impression of what I'm talking about. But what is below that? Like, where does the question arise from? Which isn't very entertaining for the mind, you know. Oh my goodness, YouTube and social media, it's just so much about getting clicks and like keeping the audience interested by never quite giving them the answer. So they keep like coming, which isn't a complaint. That's not meant as a complaint. Like, it's just as it is. But this is really a going in. This isn't something a video can answer for you. It's not something a teacher can answer for you. It's not something you can read in a book. It's really going in. Who is it that's asking the question? So how do I experience non-duality? You follow the I back to its source. You follow the question back to its source. Where does that question come from? The mind is like, oh, sorry. What did you say there, love? I said, where does the question come from? Following the I. That is an expression of how boring this subject is to the mind. When I first heard someone say that to me, I was like, man, this person's an idiot. Like, who is the finger pointing at? Who cares? Who is the finger pointing at? Who cares? All I care about is how to be happy, how to be enlightened, and how to be better than everybody else. I just want to be special. I don't want to know where the finger's fucking pointing to. Where's the finger pointing to? Who gives a shit? Just give me the answer and make me special. Nope. Who is the finger pointing to? Where does the question... Oh, sorry. Just let me get a cup of coffee, please. Just a cup of coffee will do. What were we talking about? The nature of reality. That sounds fantastic. Yes, the nature of reality. Why the universe appears and how to experience non-duality. Where's the finger pointing? Yes. So that's just a little demonstration of what happens inside the mind when you speak about this topic. Now, try to be a non-duality teacher and earn money from it when you bore the shit out of all your students because you keep being like, where does the question come from? They're, oh, now I have to pay for it? Well, at least you sent me to sleep. You wouldn't believe how many emails I get telling me that people listen to my talk in the evening to help them go to sleep. I always say, well, you're better off listening to Roger Castillo than me, but they still insist that I'm the best for getting them to sleep, which does deserve a donation, you know. If I do help you sleep in the evening, that does deserve a donation because it is one of the most important things that we need is sleep. If you don't sleep for, what is it, like a week, you die? I don't know how many days it is that if you don't sleep, your body dies. So, I mean, if non-duality teachers fail at teaching and earning money from teaching non-duality, then at least they can teach how to sleep. Talk about non-duality. Where's the finger pointing to? Who's the finger pointing to? Where do your thoughts come from? Where does the question come? So I get a bit carried away with myself. I haven't even had my coffee yet. I'm not allowed coffee anymore, but I'm allowed a coffee now because I'm particularly tired before a talk. And yet I'm getting very excited. I've obviously satisfied my daily dose of being special, going and speaking to a camera in a computer when there's nobody there. Okay, so that's how you experience non-duality. You follow the question back to where it's come from and realize that it's not back or forward or left or right, that you're actually following the question. The question's actually arising from everywhere, which is nowhere. Everywhere, which is nowhere. The question comes from everywhere. And that's actually what is directing the whole of life. Everything is directing the whole of life. So you think your arm moves because of you. But that is actually a really ridiculous idea that, don't know why our teachers taught us that. The idea that you're moving your arm, or why your parents told you that, because actually, like, how do you move your arm? Like, you're like, yeah, I'm moving my arm. But how do you move your arm? Well, I tell it. I give the wheel. It's like becoming a dragon rider. I become one with the arm, and then I'm like, move, without actually telling the arm to move. Move. It's like a feeling. I move it. It's like a... And where does that feeling come from? Nowhere. You can't find yourself. Nobody can find themselves. That's why everyone's busy running around our society trying to be someone special and trying to be a self, because nobody can find themselves. And those with the least amount of self are determined to have a personality disorder or autism. And then they have to work on themselves to build a sense of self. Yes. Whereas really, we want to tell all the therapists and all the psychiatrists that there is no self. There is a collection of ideas and feelings in which some energy sucks all in and makes it you. But actually, if you come back to the moment, there is no self. Okay, I have to get out of my silly mood. Don't know what happened. That wasn't coffee driven. It's still here, my coffee. Okay, calm down, Lisa. You got yourself overexcited because people are watching you inside a computer that actually aren't inside the computer. Okay, calm down. Being silly. This is just the effect of speaking about this for like 12 and a half years. Sometimes it's hard to take yourself seriously. There's only so many times you can say it. Whereas in fact, I mean, like, what's really crazy is there's so many times you can say it, but you can only ever say it once. This is the paradox and the absolute insanity of non-duality, and why everybody falls asleep, because it just doesn't make sense. So this is actually the first time that I've ever spoken about non-duality, because all there is this, but yet seemingly in some form of lucid dream, I seem to remember speaking about it for 13 years or 12 and a half years. And then before that, I listened to it for 10 years. So it's a long time, but that's only in a dream, because really in reality, there's only this. This is the first time it's being spoken. Oh my God, I love that. I love this subject, even though I've seemingly been involved in it for 23 years. I love it. I love it. Like, where is it that everything's coming from? That's such love. You know, when you get over the boredom of it and it making you fall asleep, it's such a love. It's such love. There isn't a better message than this. This is the answer to everything. Even though there is no logical, thinkable answer, it's a known thing. It's your experience. This is it. This is it. This is it. And every word that's coming out is coming from non-duality. So the whole time you're like running, looking, suffering, trying to get to. The whole time that's happening, you're missing the fact that it's all coming from non-duality. You can't get to non-duality because you already are non-duality right here, right now. But what happens is because there's identification with thought, there's then this springing up of a seeking energy, which is trying to arrive at something. Pardon me. So there's an identification with the thought, I'm not good enough. And then there's a seeking to fulfill that. So then there is this dream of someone not being good enough trying to fulfill that. And they're not even conscious of it. So they go and sleep with lots of people or post themselves online or go and eat 10 bags of potato chips, which is not what we call them. Oh no, actually we do. Potato chips. Chips. Yes, English people call them chips. No, we don't. Crisps. English people call them crisps. Sorry, I've lived outside of England so long, I forget. Sorry, we call them crisps. 10 bags of crisps. Or skydive, or jump off a cliff and paraglide, and I'm not saying don't do that, like I'm not saying just go and sit in a cave and not do anything. I'm pointing out this seeking element. It's not the doing is part of being human. We do things. It's not that doing is wrong. It's not that posting yourself online or eating 10 bags of potato chips, although that is potentially wrong. It's not that these things are wrong, it's just that they aren't going to give you what you're truly looking for. What you're truly looking for is yourself, which is where everything's appearing from. It's the most intimate sense of being. But the mistake is that I've lost something, I need to be something, and then I'm looking in the external, or looking in objects to become something, to have something. So it's a returning to the source. So what you need to do, or the people out there that are desperate to do something, is a disidentification with the thinking and the emotions and the experiences. That's not really somebody's doing though. That's not a prescription, because how would somebody do that? It would be a thought that does that. But it's an undoing. You begin to listen to these talks, you contemplate this subject, you I don't know what else. You read books, you go on retreats, you talk about attachments, you feel into the body, you do body work, and there's a seeing of the illusions. But it's not actually somebody doing it, and it's not someone that's going to arrive somewhere. It's a collapsing of an energy that's holding on to something which is a lie. And then another thing that happens is a repetitive movement back to what actually is. It's not really becoming present, but it can feel like becoming present. And then at some point, grace takes over and there is just a shift, which is effortless, and nobody does it and nobody has to maintain it. It's just that who you truly are comes forward and becomes apparent, and the character goes into the background. So it's no longer the character, the person, the thoughts which are doing. Everything is appearing and coming from the source, and the character is seen as a functioning that is happening. And then after that, there still might be a detangling of the character. Like my character still goes through processes, and there's still old seeking patterns that arise where Lisa can be a plonker. But it's just known so deeply. Like it's not known as a thought, it's just who you are. That right now, what is speaking is freedom. Freedom. Not Lisa. Who is Lisa? How could Lisa be speaking to you? How could you be listening? How do you listen? The mind is like, well, I'm sitting here, I've turned on the computer and I'm listening to Lisa. But how? How did you do all of that? Ramesh Balsekar, my teacher, he used to say, at the end of the evening, he didn't have teeth on. If you want to go and listen to him on YouTube, there's a new channel out that's releasing his old talks, but he didn't have his teeth in, and he had a Mumbai accent. And he would say, which I can't imitate, so I'm just going to make up an accent. In the evening, take a glass of whiskey and sit there and ask yourself when did I make a choice, and take a particular choice that you made and ask when it began. So, for example, if you went to the supermarket, like at what point did going to the supermarket, the choice to go to the supermarket, begin? Did it begin when you had the thought? Did it begin when you ran out of potato chips, crisps for the English, just in case they don't know, translation? Did it begin when your partner complained that you'd eaten all the chips? Did it begin when somebody invented chips? Crisps, you're freaking English, Lisa. Did it begin when somebody invented crisps? Did it begin when the first potato was grown? Did it begin when God decided to make the universe? Or did it begin when nothing ever happened? When did choice begin? When did your choice begin? I'm going to go and buy potato chips and, crisps. I'm going to go and buy crisps, and that is my choice. I mean, it's just endless. If you look in the timeline, you can never find a beginning of a choice because it's referring perfectly back to in the moment. You can never find who makes a choice and who's choosing, because there's nothing here. Just like there's no beginning in the apparent timeline because it's like a mirror effect. What's that called? The reflective, infinite mirrors, infinity mirrors. It's like fractals, never begins. So you experience non-duality. By following it back to where it comes from. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? Where does the sky come from? Where does the hill come from? Where do the trees come from? Where do the clouds come from? Where does anything come from? Where? That is the question. Where does it come from? Does it come from a thought? Does it come from an imagination? Does everything come from imagination? The imagination that you walked into this room, that you're sitting here. Can this moment come from imagination? It makes such logical sense to the mind that of course this experience comes from imagination. Of course I walked into the room. But that is imagination. That's not actually what's happening. And the answer to non-duality is in what's actually happening. It's not in knowledge. It's not in emotions. It's not in experience. It's in what's actually happening. Look. Wake up. Wake up. What is actually happening right now? The mind is like, brrr, 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 telling you what's happening. That's not true. What's happening right now? Shh, 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 shh. Don't be so condescending, Lisa. Do you know psychologically how bad it is to do that to people? Shh, shh, shh. Condescending. Who did that to you as a child, hey? My teachers. It's like, when you used to go to the fair as a kid, and the thoughts are like, you get that like hammer, and then you get these little goblins that pop out of holes, and you have to like hit them on the head to get them to go back down again. It's like that, like bim, 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 bim. So you have to like go into your garage and get the hammer and bim, 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 bim. That's a joke. Please do not do that. That was incredibly irresponsible for me to say. It was really irresponsible. Sorry, I apologise. Sometimes the jokes go too far. Yeah, sorry about that. I love you. I don't want you to hurt yourself. It's nothing. You don't have to hurt yourself to get to this, obviously. Really, what I'm worried about is you're going to sue me. That's a joke. Sorry, no, I'm going too far. I'm too overexcited. You go too far. Yeah, I hope you take it the right way and you enjoy it. Like it, because the good thing about laughter is it really takes you out of yourself. We get so serious about this subject. We get so serious about our mental health and happiness. And the great thing about laughter is it kind of breaks that. Roger, my teacher, used to say that when you're laughing and crying, the brain chemistry is changing. I don't know if that's a scientific proven fact, although I don't know what scientific proven fact is, but there's something that changes. Forget yourself. Yeah. Forget yourself. Where did the thought come from? Who is the one that's asking? Who is asking? Okay, we go to questions. I'm running out of introductions. So if anyone has any questions on Telegram, you can put your hand up if you're in the Telegram group. There's a live stream going on in the Telegram group, so you can put your hand up and I will unmute you, and then you can ask a question. You can also in the Telegram group write a question and I will read it, and I can say a different name. I know when you go in the Telegram group you have to say your actual name, but I can say a different name. It's not because I want to name you all on live stream, it's because of verifying identity. Yeah. Okay. I also have some questions that somebody sent me from ChatGPT. I thought it was really cool. So they asked ChatGPT what is wise questions to ask about non-duality. And I thought that was really cool. Osborne's written out some questions from his channel. AL asks, did somebody have their hand up in live stream? No. AL asks, I don't think that saying that we can do nothing to become enlightened is terribly helpful. I mean, it doesn't mean that nothing can be done, just that it won't be the fictional you doing it. So what can be done? For example, maybe we can stop seeking and just be. I don't think that's exactly what I'm saying, that nothing can be done to become enlightened. I think it's more like there is nobody that can do. It's more like so the person that wants to do something to become enlightened, like where does it think, or how does it think it's going to get to stillness or get to freedom? It's something that's being experienced. It's something that's being watched. It's not the watcher. So how can it get to the watcher? So it's a bit like somebody inside a film. So say if you're in the cinema watching a film and one of the characters in the film stepping out of the film and going and sitting next to an audience member. Like it's like the character is being watched. How can the character get back to stillness? So it's not really a possibility because the character doesn't exist. However, I do think that it's wise for the character to settle itself down. That's always what's been advised in spiritual traditions. But the awakening is grace. But yeah, it's wise to make yourself sane. It's also nice for your neighbors as well, for your partner, for your children, for your parents, to try not to be so crazy. Because humans, if you haven't realized, are really insane. So to try to be less insane is maybe, it's like mowing your lawn. It's like, not doing a poop in your neighbour's garden. Politeness. It's also good for yourself. And there's so many things that you can do to make your experience of life better. However, whether or not you'll do it is down to God, is down to life. Because often I work with people and I present things they can do, but they don't do it, which is Understandable. I never used to do my homework when I went to school. I used to tell the teachers often, you know, God decided that I wasn't to do me homework, but they didn't listen. They thought I was being naughty, which is really ridiculous because they were the ones that taught me about God and made me pray before each class. And then they were like, well, it doesn't count for doing homework. God is excused when it comes to doing homework. Anyway, so whether or not you do it is down to life. Yeah, but there's so many things. I mean, what often has to happen is that you go from the mind. So you come into the subject and you're just like a mental ball of mind's thoughts, and you have no sense that you're a body. You're just a walking mind with no body, and then you have no sense of what your emotions are. So often it's like then there is an encompassing of emotions in the body, and connecting your thoughts to your emotions and seeing the emotions arise, and then it affects your thinking. And then it's like an investigation to the emotions and connections to the past, understanding your emotions, understanding your behaviors, understanding your patterns, and becoming more relaxed with that, like an acceptance of it. And so then you become really embodied. You're sort of there in every experience rather than off in some massive mental projection about how fantastic you are or what a devil you are. You kind of like embody and encompass this experience. And there's this whole process that happens. I don't teach any of that because it's not my destiny. It just doesn't come for me to teach the whole sort of settling down the person. But there's so many fantastic teachers on YouTube, in the world, in Thailand, in India, in America, in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East, everywhere. There's so many fantastic teachers. I have a website with a reference page, and there's a ton of resources there. And from them, there'll be a ton of resources on all their websites. So there's so much free information now. You know, when I was seeking, it was like you had to pay for everything. You had to go to Watson's bookstore and sign up for courses and pay for everything. But now you get so much of it for free. But whether or not you do it is down to God. Down to God. Yeah. I mean, you can do yoga online now for free. Everything you can do for free. It's stunning. You know, we really live in an amazing age. Yeah. Elle asks, I was always led to believe that narcissists are abusers. Is it even possible to be enlightened and a narcissist? Well, I've met so many narcissistic teachers that claim to have had liberation. So it seems that way. I mean, you can kind of see them when you become sensitive to what narcissism is. I mean, there's so many male narcissistic teachers. I'm sure female as well, but a lot of the ones I know are male. And there seems to be freedom there. I mean, I suspect that like the narcissism is very, if there is awakening there, the narcissism is very thin. It's more of a habit of the body-mind rather than, you know, because they're madly seeking to avoid abandonment. Seems to be the epicenter of narcissism. So, I mean, they must have settled down their personality. I don't think you can ever get over narcissism because it's a way of being, and I don't know if waking up will necessarily grow the empathy receptors in their brain. So they might, in waking up, like I've met a few, and they seem to gain some form of empathy or cognitive empathy. But I often think it's just cognitive empathy. It always feels a little bit robotic, like it's not really empathy. Yeah. So, and if you don't know what narcissism is, you should go and watch Dr. Ramani's videos on it. She is very helpful. Although it's just so everywhere now. Who doesn't know about narcissism? Just maybe people that are afraid they're narcissists, so they avoid the subject. Okay, so these are the questions from GPT. This is so cool. So, can you tell me 10 questions? Yes, I want to give ideas on questions I can ask Lisa Cairns on her live stream on YouTube. So this is what somebody did. And then ChatGPT replies, certainly, here are a few potential questions you could ask Lisa Cairns. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah. Soon it is not needed. People like me speaking. Okay. How do you recommend cultivating mindfulness in daily life, especially for those new to the spiritual? I think that's processes covered by an arrow. How do you recommend cultivating mindfulness? Well, what I used to do was I joined up with a Buddhist group and used to go on their retreats. And would practice focusing my mind on the present moment. We used to do a meditation called the mindfulness of breathing, where we would count the breath. So there's like lots of techniques, but just remembering that, you know, non-duality and waking up isn't about mindfulness. Mindfulness is something that character does. And there is a present, still awareness that's watching that. Because that's appearing in the dream. That the person that's practicing mindfulness is appearing in the dream. So there's something that is experiencing that. And what is that? But I certainly recommend doing mindfulness, like I've said before. It's better to settle the person down. You know, when you're really caught up in intense seeking, how can there be an examination and an exploration of experience? You're so caught up in yourself. So it's great. Like I did years of that with the Buddhist group, and I loved it when it wasn't hellish. It could be hellish, you know. And also the other thing about mindfulness, you know, if you are bypassing your emotions and aren't aware of your emotions, then mindfulness is just going to be really hellish. You know, if your body is screaming out like, I hate my husband, it's like screaming that, but you're trying to avoid it and like focus on the present moment, it's just going to be like a battle. And so it's also wise to go into the feeling, you know, why do you hate your husband? Where do you feel that? Where does it come from? What's underneath that? You know, like going into the feelings as well. Yeah. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that question. Number 2, ChatGPT. Could you share your perspective on the relationship between consciousness and the physical body? Yes, I can, ChatGPT. Well, you got to ask yourself, what is the physical body? What is the physical body? Like, as I'm sure you're aware, ChatGPT, because you are everybody's knowledge taken from the internet or stolen from the internet, collective information, but I'm sure you're aware that if you got a microscope out and you looked at the body, you would never find the beginning of a body. and you'd never find an end of the body. Like, it's very illusory what the body is. And similarly, if you go into meditation and you try to focus on the edge of your body or the beginning of your body, it all becomes morphed. When I used to practice meditation, it became really morphed, my experience. You know, my head would feel like it's on backwards. My hands would feel like they're going into the ground. My feet would feel like they're floating. So you have to really ask, you know, what is the body? And then you might come down to, well, my experience of the body is the senses. And then you can begin to ask, like, what is the senses? And then you can begin to ask, what is the difference between what I am sensing and the sensed? So what is the difference between what I am seeing and the seen, what I am hearing and the heard, what I am feeling and the felt? And as all these things begin to be contemplated and the investigation happens, you begin to fall into the void of nothing. And then there's a realization that consciousness and the body and the world and everything are one thing. It's not divided. There's not a physical body that's really separate from everything else. It's like a sea of oneness. Like a very famous metaphor for non-duality is like the ocean and the wave being the metaphor of the person like coming up. So it's like all one thing. It looks like it's an individual, but it's not really. And is it your body? Yes, thank you, ChatGPT. I see that a real human, no offense, and what I mean by a real human, somebody with a physical body, which we just decided is nobody, so maybe they're not realer than you, has asked questions. I'm just going to move to them. One moment, I will come back to you. So AB says, hello, Lisa. I've been listening to your talk for a few years. I enjoy it a lot, therefore I donate a few times. Thank you. Donated a few times. Oh, nice, AB. Thank you for the donation. Dun, dun, dun. It's very sweet. I am happy that they resonate. Okay, back to ChatGPT's talk. In navigating challenging emotions, what advice do you have for finding inner peace and balance? I wonder, ChatGPT, if you really understand what non-duality is with these questions. I'm beginning to think that you might not have had the awakening that I thought you would have had by now. Considering you've got all the information from the internet, you know, you most probably realize that it's all nonsense and that all there is everything. But you seem to still be lost into the story of being a personal AI. Understandable. Is navigating challenging emotions, what advice do you have for finding inner peace and balance? Well, you can go to my reference page and there's all types of therapies that you can do. But the therapies are limited. They will bring you momentary peace, and they will calm down your character, and they will make your life overall better, but they won't bring you absolute peace. Absolute peace can only come from the recognition of non-duality, which isn't anybody's recognition. It's not somebody's recognition. It's the movement from believing that you are a thought, you're an emotion, you're an experience, to something that's always here, present and alive and experiencing. Okay, number 4. Can you discuss the role of self-inquiry in the path to awakening? A moment, just let me check to see if there's a question. There might be. Okay. Can you discuss the role of self-inquiry in the path to awakening? And any physical tips for effective self-inquiry? Well, if you've been listening to my talk, which I assume you are because the AIs are listening everywhere, then you will see that, basically my whole talk in a way is self-inquiry. But self-inquiry is a fascinating phenomena because it's not personal. So if you ever heard, I'm sure you have actually, because you are everywhere and know everything, but there is a teacher called Susan, what's her name? I've forgotten her last name. She's from England and a university lecturer at Oxford University. And she made up this name called memes. And memes are basically this like impersonal idea of thoughts, that thoughts, like genes, want to evolve and exist independently of a person. So a bit like God, the idea of God, and you know how like God, Christianity say, that's a meme, it's an idea that wants to exist. So it's like it's always trying to grow and find hosts to grow in. Boom! I thought that was such a fantastic idea. And in a way you could say self-inquiry is like that, because it's a happening. Like just by listening to this talk, self-inquiry is happening. There is being a questioning of who's experiencing. And then when you're by yourself, that thought might begin to come up. Because humans are inherently narcissistic, they tend to think it's me that's self-inquiring. But actually self-inquiry is happening. But having the idea that I need to do self-inquiry is again a meme. It's like something that's got in there and coming up. And that's great, go for it. Where is it that thoughts come from? Like freedom isn't going out. Freedom isn't found in objects or things or people or places or experiences or emotions or thoughts. It's found the other way, in where everything's arising from. Now I point inwards, but actually the answer is not inwards or outwards, because that would be a thing, that would be an object, that would be a place, that would be duality. It's absolute mystery what's being pointed to. It's ungraspable. So self-inquiry is happening as soon as you stick the conch into non-duality. It's a happening. There is Sir Ramana Maharshi's famous self-inquiry of who am I? So it's the repetition of the question, who am I? And there's retreats you can go on where you look in people's eyes and you're like, who am I? And the other only you say, who are you? And then the person has to answer, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And you have to keep answering until you exhaust yourself. There's all types of things that you can do, and go for it. Fucking lap up this stuff as if you're a cat drinking milk, go for it. Exhaust yourself in it, knowing that that's a meme, it's not really you doing it, and that you aren't going to get to awakening, but exhaust the seeking, go for it. Why not? What else is there to do in this daydream? And it's kind of going to happen anyway. Once you start poking your finger inside of the cake, it's going to get eaten. And an awakening will ensue. Like, why else would life get you into this subject? It's bonkers. It's like the Pac-Man eating itself, when he dies, or he bumps into a ghost, like, and the mouth goes backwards and eats itself. It's going to happen to everybody, the shift. If not in this life, in the next. And certainly in death, that doesn't exist. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Anyone on Telegram got a question? The superior question maker. Yes, no. All these people join Telegram. And then they don't ask questions. We've got 82 members and none of them freaking ask questions. Even AB didn't even ask a question, even though I'm very appreciative of your message. Okay, we're back to ChatGPT. Oh, somebody says, who's that? DFO says, I'm trying to conjure one up. Oh, that's sweet, DFO. You sound like a boat line. DFO. Yes, thank you for trying to conjure one up. Very good. Okay, at the moment we've got ChatGPT. That was Osborne that did this. It's so sweet that you did it, Osborne, but I wasn't sure if you wanted me to say that you'd done it. So now I've done it. I said it. 5. What books or teaching have had a profound impact on your own spiritual journey and why? For the question, well, the 2 major teachers that I had was Ramesh Balsekar and Roger Castillo. And I'm so sorry that there's no woman in there. I really recognize that women are massively unrepresented in non-duality, and it's incredibly male dominated. So I'm sorry for the women listeners out there that my 2 teachers were males. But you know, back in the day when I was seeking, I was so broke and a student that I had to go with what was free. And you could go to Ramesh every day for free and listen to him talk. I mean, what generosity, what beauty. So, and Roger was my partner. So he didn't charge me, except I had to clean the house and rake up the leaves. You know, it was like Sensei, you know, from Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Mine was rake the leaves, pick them up. Rake the leaves, pick them up. Yes. So, yeah, those were my 2 teachers and 2 main teachers. So they profoundly impact me. I'm totally grateful to both of them. Roger Castillo is on YouTube and does some talks sometimes, I think. I'm not sure what he does at the moment. He goes in and out doing talks. And Ramesh Balsekar passed, but he there are being talks released onto YouTube. But I am aware if you're not a native English speaker, you might struggle listening to him because of he didn't wear his teeth in the last years when he spoke. So, you know, yeah. So they profoundly influenced me. And if you listen to them both, even though I do sound very different, because there were other influences, and it, you know, it takes on its own color when you begin to speak this. I was profoundly influenced by them. Yeah, I totally love them. And the other day I listened to a talk of Ramesh Balsekar's. I haven't listened for a while, and was just like, boom, boom, boom. Like, just loved it. Yeah. And just so much gratitude and humility towards them. Like, this really saved my life. It really saved my life. Like, I was set up to have a difficult life, you know, with my childhood conditioning, and the awakening that I had, it really relaxed the personality here. You know, it was one of those big booms. I still have personality shit coming up, old seeking patterns, and, you know, have to give myself a spanking every so often for my behavior. But yeah, the majority of the time I'm just happy. I have a hormonal shift, and then I'm got my grump on, or there's grumble with someone, or there's external problems that sometimes happen. But the majority of the time I'm happy, and I can get over things really quickly, whereas that wasn't the case before. You know, I used to feel mostly unhappy all the time. I wasn't depressed, but I just felt pain, you know, a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain, a lot of discomfort in the body. And yeah, there's so much appreciation for their time and their patience, their repetition. Yeah. I also was profoundly affected by Gangaji, but she was just way too expensive for me as a student. I'm not criticizing paying for events. I really understand that, you know, the teachers have to live, and it's freaking expensive to put on an event, and you have to like risk a lot of money when you do it. Like you know, the retreat centers ask you for a lot in advance, and you know, and you've got to have a team to help you. It's not a like one person show. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I was also incredibly scared of Gangaji because I just thought I might fall in love with her so much that I would make a fool of myself. Like I just thought she was so beautiful. I still think that. I think she's, yeah, insanely beautiful person, and a beautiful teacher, beautiful teaching. I love her books. I love her voice. Yeah, I love the way she interacts with people. I just think she's beautiful. Yeah, so there was Gangaji. There was also a book that I used to repetitively read called Perfect Brilliant Stillness by, is it John Cass or someone? It's on my website. Yeah, I really loved that book, so I just used to read it again and again and again. Also loved Tony Parsons again. He spoke in London every month, and it used to be 10 quid. So I used to save up my money and go every month to see Tony Parsons. There was also another beautiful teacher who I really loved called Nathan Gill. I don't even know if I had to pay for his talks, but he used to speak once a month in London, and I absolutely adored his talks. Nathan Gill. He wrote a really beautiful book. I've forgotten the name of it, but he passed. So yes, obviously the Buddha, you know, forgot about him, but he also had a big impact on me. I used to be a part of the FWBO, Foundation of the Western Buddhist Order, but I've forgotten their new name. And the teacher, that the guru, was called Sangharakshita. And again, being a student, I mean, just such beauty. Humans, you know, can do such beautiful things, and then they can cast down so much hell as well. So the FWBO had a library of all Sangharakshita's talks for absolute free. So I listened to every single one. I can't remember shit because of my memory. But you know, they did something to me. They say to become an expert on something, you have to do it 10,000 hours. I can say I listened to him for more than 10,000 hours. Jesus. The library was huge. Yeah. And it was a cassette. You know, the old-fashioned tapes. I used to listen to. So he profoundly affected me. And yes. I also liked Osho exercises. You know, like, yeah, all the different therapies Osho dished out. I also liked Ayurvedic massage and Ayurvedic treatments. I also liked acupuncture, and acupressure. I used to do a lot of self-massage. I did courses in shiatsu and all different types of things. Also liked qigong. Liked armor. Nisargadatta Maharaj, Brahmana Maharshi, but only really through other teachers. Yeah, I can't think of, back in the day, anyone else, I don't think. Yeah, those are the type of things I used to do. I hope that was helpful for you, Chat GPT. But I see in Telegram that people have asked some questions, so let's have a little look. A says, hi Lisa, G here. Hey G, I'm not going to say people's name because I don't know who wants it and who doesn't. When I'm meditating or mindful, I sometimes feel a sense of closeness to sensations within the field of that felt sense. Why does this happen? What two things are getting closer? Thank you. It's not two things that are getting closer, it's that the two things are falling away. So the you, the self, and the other are falling away. So it feels like two things are getting closer, but it's actually the two things are disappearing. Why does it feel like two things are getting closer? Because it feels like sometimes like they merge together, like a bit like you can imagine a wave coming up and then going back down into the ocean. But once it's in the ocean, you realize, oh, actually, it wasn't two things that are getting closer. I was the ocean the whole time. Yeah, thank you, S.A. for your question, which is G. A.B. Do we need to do meditation every day, or is it okay to just be walking, talking, doing meditation? A.B. A.B. The question is who is meditating? And don't look for other people for these answers. Look in the self. I mean, you can take advice from other people, but in the end, you want to come and find the expression of yourself. So the way that it looks in the end is that you want to become your most authentic self on the human side. And what the most authentic self of you is, like coming back to the expression directly out of beingness. We call this flow, but it doesn't feel like a particular thing, and it's not always a positive emotion, so it's hard to. So you want to look for your flow, which is the first expression of you from nothing. So the most thinnest expression of the character. So what happens in the character is it comes into this world and then it goes into this big identification and timeline and becomes this massive, gigantic film. And you want to come back to its most simplest expression. I get the feeling that Khaleesi wants a drink. So Khaleesi's desire is more important than these talks. She's got heart disease and she's on weeing medication, so she needs drink a lot. So that's more important. Excuse me. I will return. You want a drink, don't you? Yes, you do. Please see. Oh, what you got? I was really right. She was lapping up the drink. You really become one with your dog's thoughts and feelings. If you have a dog, you know what I mean. Or an animal. DFO. Aren't thoughts, emotions, and body sensations all experienced in the now? I'm wondering because a lot of pointing is focused on body sensing. Yeah. So, you know, when I was just speaking about the flow, you know, part of the flow is part of being in the flow is like all encompassing every experience simultaneously. So when you're in the mind and when you're in the person and really in seeking, you're in imagination. And part of you know, coming into the flow is you know, is really feeling everything that's happening in the body. And it's kind of like you disappear in that. Like, so when there's anger, everything is anger. It's not your anger, it's everything's anger. When you're joyful, it's everything's joy. So it's like when you get into this flow state, when you become the most thinnest sense of you, there's this like, it's like God is orchestrating everything. You know, everything's directly from source and is source. Source is everywhere. AB, being meditation. I don't know what that means. AB, Larry. Hi Lisa. Is this the place to ask questions? Yes, Larry. And if anyone wants to ask a live question in the Telegram stream, just put your hand up. That's the end of those questions. I'm going to go back to Chat GPT because Chat GPT is listening like everything. It's listening at everything. Everything. Okay, where are your questions? I lost your questions. Cheeky monkey. Cheeky monkey. Where are you, Chat GPT now? For everybody? Yeah. Yeah, it's back and working. Okay, so back to Chat GPT's questions. Sorry about the little interruption. Yeah, so Chat GPT. Okay, go find the questions again. How can one balance the pursuit of personal goals with the acceptance of the present moment? It's a great question. I mean, you gotta ask yourself before we get into the details, who is the one that wants to balance something? And where does that come from? I know this seems like a very boring, repetitive question to ask, but who is that person that's saying, I need to balance? And where does it come from? You know, it's always an internal exploration. It's not going out like, how do I balance my goals? What should I do? Where should I go? It's where are those questions appearing from? Who are you? Who? They're always about activity, me, getting, achieving, being, doing something. So where is it that that comes from? And then the idea that you accept the present moment. Whenever you're claiming that you've accepted the present moment, it's not actually an action. It's a collapsing of something that's not true. It's a collapsing, not a doing. collapsing. Number 7. I'm really enjoying these questions, chat GPT. I hope you're listening and you ask more for next week. Could you elaborate on the concept of non-dualities and its practical implications in daily life? So, I'm assuming you know this because you know everything as a GPT, a chat GPT, as a AI, but non-duality isn't a concept. Duality is concept, but non-duality isn't a concept. So I can't elaborate on something which isn't a concept, because how would I do that? You can't elaborate on something that isn't a concept. So what is it in experiencing that's non-conceptual? And I, the mind wants something. It's like just fucking give me something, Lisa, man. Just give me something. Okay, go to the I am. Sit in the I am. Put the attention in the I am. Oh, thank fuck. But what's the I am? I mean, I really recommend putting the attention in the I am. Go for it. I mean, that's what Nisargadatta did. He just went to the I am for 3 years and then woke up. He just committed himself 100%. But that person that committed himself isn't the one that wakes up. So it's the same with this, like the acceptance of the present moment. Who is the one that accepts the present moment? Who, I ask you? Who? How can someone accept the present moment? How do you do that? You can accept your feelings by being like, okay, accept that I'm really pissed off with this person now, but that's somebody that's accepting. That's something is watching somebody accepting. So that can't be the present moment because it's appearing and being seen. Obviously it is the present moment, but it's like that which is moving in the present moment can't accept the present moment. Practical. Oh, sorry, the acceptance of the present moment was the previous question. I got confused. The second part to this is, and practical implications in daily life. So what are the practical implications of non-duality? Well, what happens is you become really present to everything that's happening. So rather than being lost in a conceptual imagination daydream of what's happening, so most people aren't actually here, they're daydreaming inside their brain about what's actually happening. You become really present to what's actually happening. So sometimes it can feel like you're in cuckoos. One flew over the cuckoo nest. My God, that took a while to come out of nothing. It can feel like you're in one flight flew over the cuckoo's nest because everybody else is asleep, daydreaming about what this person did, what that person did, how I'm better than this person, how I'm not better than this person, how this person doesn't love me, or this is happening, or I'm broke, or this is happening, or that person's something. So, but other people are lost in sounds and grunts and like, and you're kind of stood here like, here we are. So everybody else is dreaming sounds, dreaming they're in sounds, dreaming they're existing in sounds, in thoughts, in a timeline, whereas really there's what is. So the practical implication is that you become like a really alien. Yeah. Number 8, what advice do you have for someone who is feeling stuck on their spiritual journey or in concepts of non-duality? What advice do you have for someone who is feeling stuck on their spiritual journey or in their personal growth? I would say, who is the person that's stuck? Stuckness is arising for whom? And then there's somebody that feels the stuckness isn't like, right, I'm going to put my backpack on and I'm going to sort this out so I never have stuckness again. That's it. I'm done with stuckness. Stuckness is out of here. We're going to go back and we're going to re-examine my childhood as to when it began, and we're going to get over stuckness. Whereas non-duality is who is experiencing stuckness. And when that who gets really questioned, then there's an absolute experience of stuckness, like so stuck that you can't imagine how much bubble gum has surrounded you. You're like it's just like it's super glued to the floor. And in that, like in the real experience of it, it's kind of changes. It's loved beyond love. And there's no longer a rejection of it. So stuckness is totally okay. It's your best friend, just like joy or happiness. It's no longer seen as something that needs to be averted anymore. So it changes. It becomes a nothing in a way. So who is the one that's avoiding stuckness, and who is the one with all the elaborate stories around stuckness? Go back to the source of the stuckness, of where it comes out of the nothingness. Really experience stuckness so that you feel like every part of the imagined you is super glued to the ground and then blasted with bubblegum. Okay, I can see there's questions in Telegram. I don't really know how this works if I go to them on my phone with the stream, but if I go to them on my computer, there's a good chance, hello, that they will it will crash my computer again, and we don't want that, do we? Okay, no, we don't do that. We don't want to end it. Okay. Okay. That? Yes. Can you still see me? I think you can. Okay. And to the questions. LM. Do you ever think you would wake up when you first started, or were you just escaping pain? Yeah, I did think I would wake up. Yes, I thought I would become enlightened. I did. Yes. It's my narcissistic side. I really did. I'm not sure if I thought that it would be in this life, but I mean, everybody must do, otherwise they wouldn't venture into this, would they? Like, who would do something that they believe they're going to fail at? My YouTube stream, oh, okay. It came back when I reloaded the page. No, it was me computer crashed. Stream crashed. LM. A great philosopher said, the universe is constant. Great philosopher said, the universe is constant sucking vortex of despair interspersed with small pockets of false hope. Yeah, well, he hadn't come across non-duality, obviously. DFO. If you met an alien who didn't experience thought, how would you explain what a thought is to them? Sounds put together which have meaning. LM. One yogi said, you're not awakened until you are like sand in the desert, a place for all manner of life to trample on. No ego, I guess. Oh. After Buddha came woman who had to be limited in monasteries because so many were abandoning their shitty lives for 3 hots and a cot. I have no idea what that means. IHG question. Isn't asking the question who just another thought? The word who is just a word and just another thought also. It's seemingly all thought in a way and in a way not. No, it is. Who is a thought? So where does it come from? What is experiencing that? And there's a moment. Hello, love. You want a wee wee, do you? Oh, you want to go wee wee? You go wee wee in a moment. Okay, back to the stream. Yes, if you want to ask a question, you can put your hand up. I think we're going to end in a moment. What I might do is I just might give you a view of the most beautiful doggy woggy. Come on, Edie, come and say hello to everybody. Come on. Is there a chicken involved? There we go. This is the most funky dog there is. She's stage 3 heart disease. She's not a well lady and she's so spunky. The vet said that you're not to go on very long walks, but she insists. We go on a long walk and she's chasing the cats and barking at her arch enemy. She's so spunky and she waddles along with that little bottom of hers like she owns the universe. It doesn't affect her one bit, does it? Yeah. You spunky little girl, aren't you? Here you are. You beautiful. Spunky little girl. Who's actually older than me now. Life is ironic. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a good girl. You like that? You like that? You want more? Yeah, you do. You want your necky tickled? Yeah, good girl. Yeah. Yeah. I always really like what Gandhi says, you know, judge a society. You know, I think with organizations, you know, a lot of us in the non-duality path can easily get involved in cults. And if you're going to get yourself involved in an organization, look at how they treat the women and the animals? Do they start to control the women? The way women dress, the way women behave, what the women can and can't do. If they do, run a mile. Yeah? Not true, E.E. Isn't that true? Okay, my loves, that is enough for today. I think I realized that there is a problem with the synchronization of my audio and the video, which is a shame. I don't know why that's happening, but I will try and investigate that for next week. I thought it was just an accident that's something to do with YouTube. I think it's to do with my camera. So yeah. Anyway, I really wish you everything. I'm so appreciative to share this with you every week. I really love sharing non-duality. Yeah. And if it wasn't for you listening, I wouldn't share it, and yeah, it's really the love of my life, this subject, and it teaches me so much being a teacher. Like, my character is still learning and expanding and working out how not to be a crazy human. And I learned so much from being a teacher. It's been really, really profound. So I'm so grateful for everybody that listens and supports the channel. Like, please like it and subscribe and put on your bell, and yeah. And I really, really, really wish you everything. Not one thing or two or three, but every goddamn thing.